Regress. Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Stroke. I am your host and stroke survivor, Jerry Ball. And for those of you that are new here, I started doing this show quite some time ago and bringing awareness to stroke, TBI, aphasia, and also to bring survivors on to share their stories. And I have two survivors here that are going to be talking with all of us, and we're going to be talking about why stroke survivors regress. And just so you know, stroke survivors, when you do regress, we do lose abilities to progress that had previously, but gained. But this can feel frustrating, and I know how this goes. Sometimes it's scary, but people think it's more common than we think. So, but it is manageable, and we will talk about that. So let's just bring on the guests, and I won't babble around here. And let's and you know what? Let's all introduce ourselves here. And okay, I've got to get this thing going here. So okay, so let's bring on Musong. Good morning, Musong.
Good morning, Jerry.
And Jerry Chapman. Look at him. There he is. And I see John Lummis.
Oh, John. Hey, buddy.
Yep, I'm here.
All right. You're in your car.
Yes, it's raining out. I can't sit outside today.
Wow. And you've got some Wi-Fi there. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I connected up. Well, the tablet's on its own line, but I connected up to the store Wi-Fi.
Wow. Well, nice. That's okay. I don't know if can you guys see the comments? If Simply Obs. Good morning, Obs. And Serena. If I miss you guys, Kevin, nice to see you, Doug, and everybody else. So, woohoo! So,
hey, good morning, Serena.
So, who would like to start? I mean, have you guys seen? Have you felt like that you have regressed sometimes? Anybody?
You know, at times, yes, I would say. For me, I think just got to really maintain what's going on. And so for me, it's not physical. I think for me, it's something that it's mental, your mental toughness. You know, you're just being aware of what's going on during this journey. So I would say for me, I got to be really careful about my regression with the mental health.
Yeah.
So that's really what I focus on.
Wow.
Just being aware of that. Because I know usually you might be aware of like the physical stuff and stuff like that, but don't forget the mental part of it. And because you don't know what's going to trigger your mental well-being during the journey. So for me, I'm always have to be aware of what's happening in my environment, events that you might be going to. You don't know what that thought about like, oh, I wish I was able to do this, or you just never know. So I think for me, it's quite that's what I probably have to be really careful about my regression on that.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Jerry?
No, 4 years ago, I started going uphill, getting all my momentum, my stroke, my coordination was doing good, my strength was good. Wasn't quite there, but I was doing awesome. Then I had my surgery. And then after that, I'm noticing strange parts about getting short-term memory loss now. I'm driving my car, and I turn a corner, and wonder where the hell I am until I recognize certain spots on the road, right? And, it's a panicky feeling because at first I start off, I know where I'm going, but just I turn a corner and I recognize some spots. I'm going, okay.
Yeah.
And my strength, I was doing 2 hours on a bike, right? 2 hours on my, you and I talked about this, and my, I'm getting part-time aphasia too, because I'm forgetting the word for the bike. It's a floor model bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I used to do 2 hours, and then I was
remember.
doing pretty good. Now I can hardly do 15 because on my affective side, the pain, I get a lot of pain.
Interesting.
I can handle a little bit of pain, but it's agonizing. So I never heard of it all coming back before, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not come all, but just certain things that really knock you on your butt, and you're going, "What's going on?" When you thought you were doing so good.
Yeah.
And I get jealous of Mr. Loomis there. Nothing slows him down. He keeps going. Like he's like the ever-ready battery bunny, right? He just keeps going and going and going. I'm
He is the
extremely
energy bunny. Energy bunny.
I'm extremely envious of him. So
Yeah.
that's why I give him a hard time sometimes. But just
Yeah, but it's funny, John. You were shaking your head when Musong was talking about you regress. So do you feel you have?
Oh, it goes month to month. I mean, I said, when they switched up my job position here, instead of stacking stuff from the floor to the shelves, now I'm taking stuff off the pallets to the floor. So all the strength I had going one way is not the strength I had going the other way.
Wow, interesting.
So, and as I've been doing more of the heavier boxes from the 6 feet up to the floor, now I went to pick up boxes today out of the floor of a trailer, and they were the 1 pound tubs of drywall mud. You buy the smaller ones, not the big tub, but the small tubs, and or the 1 gallon tubs of it. And it was hard for me to pick those up off the floor to go the other way because that strength is gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just as I change and progress forward, things change up for me, and then I have to think back of where I was and what exercise I was doing, and change things up on my exercise routines to get back to where I was. But I went through eye surgery. I've had a leg injury for the last almost a year. It's so all those times they just slow you down, and then when you feel like you're in decent shape, and then say, okay, well, I feel good today, and you push it just a little bit too much, well, then you realize you're not even close to where you were 6-7 months ago. I'm not close to where I was 7 years ago.
Wow.
You're back at work. You do a full 8-hour day?
No, I do 5 hours a day, 20 hours, 4 days a week, 20 hours a week. So part time.
Okay. Because I thought you were like doing full time work. I'm going, I don't know how you can do it. But,
No,
that's awesome.
I could go back to running a trucking company. My mind is still there to route the trucks and segregate the freight. That's all still there, but I don't want the high stress of 12 to 14 hours a day. Do not want to go through that again.
I was like that when I was a truck driver. I did the long hours, but I can't do now. Just I don't have the strength.
Yeah, and you don't have the mental focus to stay. I mean, driving that truck that long every day, you got to take more breaks, and then you're not getting done what they need to get done, and they'll start complaining about it and everything else. But yeah, that mental aptitude to drive like that. And if Jerry, I think you're in Canada, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So see, I drove the 401 for a while.
Oh, yeah?
That is the long, boring road.
But it's probably right across Canada. You go from
Detroit
Windsor.
You go from Detroit to Toronto.
Yeah. But, that's a long drive, okay.
It's a straight shot. You got a few overpasses and a few exits here and there, but there's nothing out there once you clear Toronto.
The only thing that makes you angry is those MOT stops. Just making sure your load's secure. You're getting ready to go home, and those MOT stops just slow you down if there's a problem. You're there till whenever.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Yes, Jerry, over the last 11 and a half years, yes, I regress, and then I go back and rethink my exercise a little bit and say, what was I doing then? What do I need to change up now? Because different parts of my body are working in different ways. So I modify the exercise a little bit different and just keep progressing from there.
Yeah. You feel, because I know my wife told me that I got a little complacent where I was not doing as much as I used to do all the time. I mean, I used to gung ho about that, and I was going up like you said, Jerry. Same thing, going up and then now my walking is worse. So I needed to do more and more because tired. I don't. He says I hold on to her way too much when I'm walking. So
You can't really help that though, right?
right.
I can walk. I go shopping with my wife just to get the exercise,
Right.
and then I end up wanting to hop on the end of the cart for her to push me because my leg's getting so sore. Right? I don't, but that's what I feel like doing.
Yeah.
But what the Musong was mentioning, the mental factors, I find my memory's getting terrible. And what I was mentioning before, just that I'm trying to remember. You get talking, let's say, I'm talking about ducks, let's say, and let's say I was hunting ducks, and I put my gun up to the, I lose that word ducks or something. I can't think of it until someone reminds me. That bothers me. I'm 62 and it bothers me a lot. So
Yeah. What do they say? They say when you regress, it's probably because you're pushing yourself way too hard. I mean,
is that what it is? Or,
I think it's more like you said, Jerry. You start to become complacent. You start feeling good about yourself. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, we're doing this. I made some gains here. So you not to say the word plateau, but you level off right there for just a little bit. Then you start to get complacent because you've been doing this for a couple of weeks now, and you feel pretty good. Then when you get back to doing exercises, it's like, wow, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Yeah. And I don't want to use an excuse, but I'm gonna breaking my hip. That set me back for, like I couldn't walk. I couldn't get out of a wheelchair.
Right.
When I broke mine.
But
So.
isn't complacent a lot like that word plateau?
That's why I don't like that word. That's why I didn't use it.
Yeah. They're both nasty words. It's like saying you're lazy where you're not.
Yeah.
I don't like that word.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that make you? Hey, Jerry, just going back to what you were saying about you feeling complacent and your wife thinks, like, how does that make you feel, like, in that moment, like, mentally?
Right away I say, maybe I am complacent and I need to get my butt in gear and start doing more stuff.
Kind of motivates you?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I'm starting therapy back to going to therapy again.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the stuff that what I'm supposed to do, but insurance pays for it, so I'm going to go.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I do the same thing. Like even I still see my counselor like on a regular basis for my mental health. And
right.
I think it's so important because it's, you just don't know the emotions that you're going through. It's like, your grief and loss keeps on cycling back. I mean, John, you have such a mental strength capacity to just do what you're doing. It's just, it's pretty amazing, really. Like, let alone like you have to deal with all the physical stuff and you have to not stay complacent and all that stuff during this process. You still, for me, I mean, thinking about my identity crisis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just trying to be independent and all that stuff that goes on with your self. Trying to maintain your self-care, all that.
Yeah.
It's a freaking cycle of everything.
Yeah.
And you don't know what this exterior environment's going to throw at you for all these.
Yeah, because you're 2 years out, Musong, right?
Yeah, I'm 2 years next month.
And then Jerry, you are 4 years, and John, you're 13?
No, it'd be 11 and a half. Coming up on
11
12.
and a half, okay. I see and I'm coming up on 15. And Marina, I agree. And
No.
And I think this has to take time. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I read Christy's comment too.
Yeah. But I see her work so hard, doing her yoga and volunteering and doing a lot of stuff.
At the church,
when I see you guys work out or show stuff, that does that motivate anybody? It does for me when I see like Christy, whoever, John, you, Musong, you used to videotape your stuff.
Yeah, I've been holding back just because there's so much going on.
You should. Everybody should do that because it motivates. I'm sure not only me.
But Musong, you say there's so much going on, but yet that's where a lot of us are at. Show that you're going through the same thing as someone else. You help motivate somebody else, and you give them hope also.
Yeah, very good point, John. Yeah.
And Jerry,
it's not always all positive things all the time. I go down. I was in dumps in a rut for like 3 or 4 months in a row, and I mean I could not pull myself out of it. I tried and finally things just changed, and I started working my way up real slow, and I back when Michelle started the Stroke Squad probably 6-7 years ago. As I told her, I said I've been in for weeks, and it just drove me nuts.
Wow.
But I finally kept pushing myself forward, and come out of it. But yeah, I still go back into that area, that go in that dark zone occasionally. So it's the same roller coaster ride every week to week. So, and Jerry was talking about where the aphasia. I don't suffer from the aphasia, but there are I've talked before where I used to work Monday through Thursday and take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I wouldn't have any communication with a lot of people, face-to-face communication. It'd be all text messages on the phone or the tablets or the computer. So you start to lose things by Sunday. My speech was off a little bit. So I changed my schedule to Monday, Tuesday off, Wednesday, work Thursday, Friday off, Saturday and Sunday, so that my brain stays energized from having face-to-face communications with people, and that constant battle back and forth. So if I go 3 days not really talking to anybody, that my speech is off and my words you couldn't think of the word duck. Well, there's a lot of times I'm in here at work and I can't get the word or what the product is. I can describe it to a T, but I can't find the word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with me working and my days up a little different, I keep all that energized in my mind all the time. It helps out a lot better.
I agree. And Jerry, same thing. When we talking is really great therapy. So like you said, John and Jerry, I think that's what we need to do, more talking face to face more, just because that helps so much.
Yeah.
It's not quite the,
and that gets you over things too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not quite the mental thing, but also the
Everybody's
physical.
afraid to
Yeah.
Yes. That's the question they ask you when they evaluate you is like, how do you feel about walking around in a mall getting bumped into? How do you feel like walking across the parking lot? Well, with the most people I know around this place, it's just rough walk across the parking lot and I get hit. But the mall, I'm pretty good.
I didn't necessarily.
I'm in yeah.
What'd you say, Jerry?
You go to concerts or races, stuff like that.
I didn't necessarily say people bumped into me. That wouldn't be smart. I do it for the exercise, but just because I get a lot. I didn't get pain before. It was like a numb feeling. But now the numbness is turning into pain. But and it's frustrating, just especially when you hear. I don't mean to sound like I'm picking on John or anything, but just. I'm starting to pick on you, John. Is that okay? No, just I shouldn't. He's been 14 years or whatever, and I'm only 4. Maybe it's something totally different or whatever. I don't know, but it's just.
Well, you have a doctor appointment coming up, right? I mean, that's what I would definitely talk to them about that. Or you haven't seen a neurologist, right?
When I first had it.
Yeah.
My stroke, I seen one.
Yeah.
But that was in the middle of COVID, and I didn't really see him. Like, he sent orders to the hospital for me to get a CT scan or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah.
But I've never seen him.
Wow.
So that was in the middle of COVID, right? Nobody actually. That was 4 years ago. We're just getting out of it now. So
Yeah, 'cause, emotional health and depression. It was mental health has a direct impact
Yeah.
on motivation and neuroplasticity.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That, that's what I think about that. Um, so, Jerry, what else were you going to say? No, I just,
what part are you specifically talking about, Jerry?
yeah. Because what they say, I mean, because you think we're weak, but what was it?
Well,
Go ahead.
I thought I was doing quite good, but then my body, I'm doing something, and my body just, starts hurting someplace where it hasn't done before,
Yeah,
and you're just going, what now, or how come it's hurting now?
yeah,
After so many years, which shouldn't be hurting.
yeah. You think you're going to recover and you'd be brand new as time goes on.
And with my recovery, when I was in the hospital, for the 2 or 3 months that I was in the hospital, I would complain like something was wrong, right? And I still have tremors, right? And I go, I'm shaking way too much. And they would come up with the answer, well, it's just a stroke. And I'm going, well, no freaking kidding. Right? You expect more answers than that, right?
Yeah,
You're scared to ask.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I talk right? Well, you got aphasia. Well, good one.
Way to talk yourself down with that. You know what I mean? Because those things, like, God, it's a stroke or whatever else. It just mentally, you have to be so aware of that constantly. It is a constant thing when it comes to like being aware of all that stuff, because it could be so frustrating and that could lead to depression. You get depressed. It's like such a roller coaster emotionally that you just don't know.
it's so true. Like Ob says here, she talks herself down.
Yep.
Does anybody feel like that?
All the time.
Do you?
Constantly. Like when Jerry's talking about like, oh, is this pain? Is it because of the stroke or is it something else? Am I regressing? It's just the same thing. Like, oh, this step. Like I can look at going to the bathroom or walking down the hallway and like, why am I keep on bumping into this thing? Why can't my leg like make a better step? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's constant.
Yeah. What helped me with the walking is I go to the grocery store when we go. I hold on to the cart, and my feet. Does anybody's feet swing out a little?
At times, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, mine used to do that really bad, and so I walk with the cart, and I'm always stepping on the wheel, or trying to keep the feet straight. They'll get my gait good, but and I'm just gonna, before I forget, Serena, that's a great comment because I did get mine. The copy of the records, I've done that. I got everything. They put it on a disc, and I seen it, and I actually sent it to Dr. Sullivan, and she read through it. But when I first did it, I talked to you, Jerry, about there was the word aphasia in it. When I first got them, I thought, no one told me about that. And so I asked the doctor, what is that? Oh, it's just it's a talking thing. What does that mean, a talking thing? So just funny. And ever since doing the shows years ago, I know more about aphasia than my doctor ever told me. I mean, it's just, I learned so much.
Have you noticed that your aphasia has gotten better since you started the show?
What's that?
Have you noticed that your aphasia has gotten better since you started the show?
A ton. If you look back at my first videos, I don't know, I've done hundreds and hundreds, say more than 500. And you listen to me then, why should I be talking back then? It was just a mess. But yeah, talking, and I still, mumble around here and forget things. And like, yeah, I mean, right? I'm sure everybody forgets.
No.
But, wow. Yeah, amazing. So I forgot. But anyway, that was you're right. It has gotten a lot better, but it wasn't in the beginning. But it is what it is. I just talk like a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Just
No,
keep
listen,
talking.
well, it's like a graph, is it not? Like you're what you even said yourself that you were talking and you thought you were talking great, right? At first.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden someone said you weren't. So it starts going down.
Yeah.
And now you think you're on the up scale again. But who's to say the scale doesn't go down? Nothing's, maybe I'm wrong, but nothing's for sure when it comes to this stupid thing called stroke, is there? Like, am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah. No.
Right. 100%.
Yeah, and I think for
100%.
me,
No, you're
my
right.
speech therapist, I don't know, recorded me, and that's where you find out, like, wow, I was talking either too fast and I'm not making sense, and that helped me, the recording. So you just got to keep talking.
But even if you do that, who's to say, right?
Right.
Who's to say you don't? I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm just trying to say nothing's for sure, right? I'm saying that because it's happening to me. I did everything I thought I was supposed to. I talked to you, I talked to a lot of people, and then I find my voice, or when my voice goes back. When I had my stroke, I had no voice at all, and a lot of people probably happy about that. But when I talk, my voice goes down. No, come on, guys, no smiling here. Jeez.
We understand.
Yeah, now you think it's funny though, which I do, but my voice goes down to a whisper, right?
Yeah.
But it's just things. I guess things are just different for different people. I
Yeah.
guess.
Everybody's different. Yes, and I think it's cyclical. So we have those good moments, or really good for months, and all of a sudden you have a dip, and we go through those. So
Just when you get to a certain stage, you think, well, there's no going down.
Well, my connection is going in and out. So
yeah, okay. First of all, thank you for all these comments. Appreciate it.
yeah,
Talking about, I see. Doug, I know you probably said this before. I don't know how far out are you. So his talking has gotten worse lately because you don't talk to anybody. Well, then, yeah, that's a good point there. I have. That's right.
Oh yeah, Aubrey, it is. It's all a process, all of it, every aspects of everything that we're talking and discussing about, like let it be speech, physical, mental. It's all process. It's a constant battle that you deal with, like we all deal with every single day. Sometimes every moment, But going back to my even the voice, I think it's just, I feel like it's not gotten better, but it's just so weak, and it's just like the voice fatigue I have to deal with all the time. Yeah.
Do you have neuro fatigue?
I don't. That's the weird part. I do not have any neural fatigue, just a voice fatigue. Like depending on how I'm like sitting or like laying down, just like, it's like it just kind of, my voice just strains, and it's just like trying to it's hard to describe. You guys probably understand though. Just like trying to project your voice pitch is just very difficult.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my biggest I wouldn't say regressions. It's not, there hasn't been very good progress with that. Yeah. Constantly battle with it every single day.
Wow.
But everybody's got their own things that they battle with every day. It's different for everybody, I'm sure.
Right.
But anyhow,
Yeah, that's incredible.
Well, going back to Jerry talking about your shows, and you're seeing how well you talk now versus how you did at the beginning. I recommend that to everybody, even if you keep the video for yourself, to video yourself doing some exercises or some activities, and go back and look at it 6 months later and do it again, and then compare the videos and see where you're at. The same with your talking. I've suggested to a few people that with aphasia to, instead of text messaging me, do a voice text or do a voice and then send me the voice. Let me listen to it. And you
Yeah.
can just talk back and forth on you do the recording, send the recording to somebody else, let them talk, and then you can ask them questions about what they said, make sure you understood what they said. But it gets their voice activated and they're just not stuck texting on their phone all the time.
Good point. Good point
Very
there.
good.
Yeah. Look at this. Time, I can't even believe it. Am I looking at the right time here? No. Gosh, going blind. My eyesight has gotten a little worse.
I understand. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but how's your hindsight, Jerry?
My hindsight? Good. That's good. Hello.
I ain't gonna touch that one. There we go.
Oh, that's funny. You're fine. Okay. You gotta have fun. You have to have a sense of humor. Because there's so many things I don't want to say worry about.
I don't have one.
But everything like Musong, everybody's, your speech, your hand, or your foot, all these things. Whoever thought you'd have to worry about all this stuff. Okay, make sure you lift my foot up, or just my hand. I went this morning. The guy, the orthotist. Anyway, he was looking at my AFO and all the other ones, and he says when we're saying goodbye, he went to shake my hand with my non-affected side. I just put my other hand up there, then he switched over because that's getting complacent, not doing that, So I make sure I always shake with my affected side all the time, so it doesn't just sit there and do nothing. Just me.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
The littlest things that you have to be aware of.
You have to include it.
It's constant.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything.
Yes, you have to get that other affected side out there so your eyes see that, so your brain sees that, so it doesn't forget about the affected side.
Exactly. I was going to take a video of me browning the turkey meat last night with my affected side. I didn't do it. I didn't even get that hand involved because I know the end result. It's going to be all over the floor. Everything's going to be swinging around. So that's, So what else did we not? The regression. I put some notes here. The recovery. The reason for regression. It's not a weakness. No one seeks what therapy? Oh, even like mental therapy. You do, Musong.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still see my counselor on a regular basis.
I don't mean to be smart. This is a psychiatrist we're talking about. Is that what you're talking about?
What's that?
I don't mean to be smart about this, but is that
yeah, you bet. Go ahead.
That's a psychiatrist you're talking about, or
it's a counselor. They call them counselors.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Mental counselors is what they go by.
Okay.
Yeah.
You meet with them once a week, and you feel that's helping?
I try to see them once a week. For me, it's help. It's the biggest thing about. I would say the most powerful thing about that is you can't talk. You can't talk to your family or other people about certain things. So when I'm in that meeting with my counselor, there's no judgment about anything. So that just knowing that in my mind, I could talk about anything.
Yeah.
my darkest moments, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could talk about all that with no judgment. And that's probably the most profound thing for me, where it doesn't, I feel like it's a release for me to really talk to somebody with no judgment.
Right.
It's pretty comforting, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet.
Well,
Because if you have a partner or a caregiver that you're trying to, they already got enough shit on their plate. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, but be able to talk to somebody with no judgment at all. I mean, think about that. It's very comforting.
Yeah, I bet. My wife, she judges me.
There you go. Well, they can't. We're human. We can't
Yeah.
help. You know what I mean?
I'm just kidding. She'd be mad at me if I just, sorry if you watch this.
Right.
well, why would someone like judge you for?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand why someone would judge you for what you were just saying before, Musong.
Well, I would say, like, if you're complaining about something, like, oh, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, or you just, you gotta, if you're complaining about something that, you're already in this journey. And if you complain about something that's very minute, small, it's like, why are you complaining about that? It's just, you've been on this journey, like, for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's just a little part of it. You know what I mean? Or it could be about anything. Like if you have kids, for example, or, whatever your feelings are, like, because you got to be really careful about not going to the dark side. Like John was saying, like, like if you're in the dump for like few months, like trying to get out of that, by yourself, it's like, why you already got enough stuff that you're thinking about. Like if you had somebody to talk to about that, man, that would get you out of that roller coaster mentally quicker, or without any judgment. No, the only people that we don't have judgment is people that's going through it.
Right.
So that's the thing. It could be anything. I mean, but mainly it's just about no judgment about anything that comes out of your mouth, because your thoughts, you can't control your thoughts. So it could be any little thing, but it's just the idea, the comfort of just saying, hey, look, you know what? I'm not doing very good. I'm starting to go to this dark side, and because of X, Y, and Z. It could be pain. It could be anything. Emotionally, physically, it doesn't matter. Just
Yeah. Do you feel, Musong, do you feel when you're done talking to he or she, you feel like a weight was lifted off my shoulder?
at times, yes,
Good.
absolutely,
Wow.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge.
Absolutely.
That's why for me, I just I try to I take that very seriously.
Yeah.
About mental health.
Yeah. I agree. That's one of the biggest things going through this is the mental part of it.
Because it will kill your motivation. It really will.
And that could be a huge thing with obviously with your. That's why we regress. Mental thing, because
Not necessarily.
Not everybody. I mean,
but it's different for everybody.
Some people do, but not everybody.
Right.
Involved, sir.
But that is a big thing, though. I mean,
well, yeah. Some people do. Other people, sometimes people, like for me, for instance, if I get down on myself, you're doing something that works for you, Musong, and that's very respectable.
Yes.
People like me, I'm old school. I was taught that if I had a problem, I shut my mouth, right? Ever since I was a little kid like that, I had a problem, I told my dad about it, I'd get a cuff across the head, right? Yeah. And I just learned that if I had a problem, I'd try to deal with it myself. Thank God I got my wife, right? She's a godsend to me, but I hardly talk to anybody. And if you can get away with that, like talk to somebody, that is totally awesome.
Yeah.
I think there's quite an age difference in there, Musong, between you and I. I'm 62.
I'm 53.
Oh, you're just a kid.
I'm just a kid. Thanks.
You know, that's funny. Does anybody, did this happen when you were in the hospital? Because, Jerry, you were in the hospital for 3 months, you said?
3 months during COVID.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because when I was in the hospital for 2.5 months, there was this guy that came around all the time, just once a week. And he'd come in my room just to talk to me. And I didn't know who he was. I'm thinking, who is this guy? And I thought maybe he just wants to be my friend. He was a psychiatrist that would always show up. I obviously didn't look down at his thing, his name thing, whatever. But he'd come in and, like Musong, he would just talk to me. And I thought, wow, just wanted, it was just us. So if anybody was in there, he would ask them, please, if they can, out for just a little bit. And he talked to me. I thought, man, this is great. He just wants to talk to me. At first, I thought he wanted to be my friend. That's it. But he was, after a month or so, I knew exactly what he was there for, and just let me talk, even though I'm sure I made no sense. But
well, you guys were so nice guys then, because when I had my stroke, I was angry as hell.
yeah,
I didn't want to talk to nobody. I couldn't talk anyway, and I couldn't see anybody. No, I couldn't see my wife for 2 months because of COVID. But I'd had this nice. She's a very nice girl. She was a speech therapist, ears, mouth, and throat therapist.
Yes.
She had the freaking nicest personality you ever seen, right? I'm sitting here, I'm lying down, and I'm angry as hell. And she'd always come in with the same line. And how are we feeling today? I just want to, how the fuck do you think I'm doing? I was so angry till I realized that she was there to help me. And
yeah. She hung in there.
What's that?
She hung in there with you.
Yeah. And I want to see her to this day because I was supposed to get an operation on my throat, right?
Right.
To help my, I forget what they call it, but to help my voice go so they'd be like that, right? Make my voice vibrate to talk. And the surgeon, he saw my throat, he put a camera down my nose to see my throat. He says, if you were one of my siblings or relatives, I'd tell you to avoid that surgery. I think you get better on your own. And he did. It did, right? So,
right.
But just your attitude when you first have it, right? So
yeah. But you knew that because when I was in the hospital, the only one finally told me was my daughter Cassie. Told me I was mad as what, just because of the situation. But I thought, everything was good, but apparently not.
Oh no, just people. Sorry, did you want to say something, Musong?
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
I guess there's different strokes for different folks,
Yeah.
Some people wake up in the hospital, I'm good, But this, you wake up when you're, John and I was a truck driver, and I couldn't pay my bills after that, right? I had insurance and everything, long-term disabilities, but I'd have to wait a certain amount of weeks to get that money, right? And I don't know if I could afford it. And you don't need that extra worry when you have a stroke, right? So, I couldn't really just jump out of bed because I'd want to go this way, and I'd end up going the other way twice, right? Because my legs wouldn't do what I want them to. So.
Absolutely.
So, Smiley, what do you have to say? They're smiling at me.
The one thing I wanted to say is going back to Jerry, what you were saying about Chapman, that is about, like old school, about like, keeping your mouth. I think self-regulation about what comes out of what you're thinking, and it just kind of spits out. I mean, that's probably one of the things that I always practice too. So, yeah. But it's not easy. Don't get me wrong.
Like I wasn't scared of anything at school. I was scared to what would happen to me once I get home. Right?
Really?
Oh yeah, I got in a lot of fights, which I usually won. But if I went home crying, talking about it, my dad would beat the crap out of me and say, "There's something for you to cry for," right? And as a 5-year-old, you don't need that belt coming across your butt side too many times, right? So it's just another old school, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. The paddle.
my dad never did that after I outgrew him a couple of feet. So,
Oh gosh,
but that's something you can't get away with right now in this day and age.
no,
This,
No.
not at all. It is amazing, and Lynn, you're right. Sometimes I say stuff I shouldn't. I mean,
Yeah.
who doesn't do that?
Yeah, but
Oh,
when
yeah.
you do that, you can just say, just a stroke. Just a stroke. So, sorry.
Yeah,
just a stroke. Oh, geez.
right.
That's too easy to fall back on. That's an excuse. We can't do that.
Well,
But
that's what
I understand.
why not? That's what the nurses do. That's what the doctors do.
Yeah.
And you ask them what's wrong, and they just say, "Well, it's just a stroke. We're not really sure."
They don't know. They don't know.
Yeah, like
Not in
Lynette.
Canada, anyway. Not in Canada. So,
Not in Canada, yeah. See, Lynette said she's right. We learn more from our survivor family. Yeah, it'll be interesting. What should I bring up something to my neurologist today? And just see if she really, because when I went the last time, she goes, "Well, I've heard you've had some seizures from the last doctor, and let me give you some more of this more meds." I still never taken it, but it's still in the whatever it's called, the medicine cabinet. But yeah, but it'll be interesting to see what the outcome of the thing today. Whew. Okay, I won't.
you still got another doctor's appointment, do you?
The one this morning was the orthoptist. I look at Musong because I'm saying it wrong, right? Orthoptist.
Orthoptist.
Yep. So I went that one this morning. Yeah. And right after this, I go to my neurologist.
Orthoptist. Is that like a butt doctor like you were prescribing before? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough. So,
Exactly.
Oh my God.
But what was the other some talking points? Do you think they say regression? I know I said it to you, Jerry. Is moving to a new home, losing a caregiver, or inconsistent therapy can affect our progress. So structure needs to be, which I think we all said it. Well, Jerry and John, you have to be consistent. And what was the other one? Non-consistent therapy, like ourselves or whatever. That's another reason for regressing. If we don't stick to the same routine, right? That's what my little research tells me. You don't think so?
no.
I agree. It's very you have to be consistent. It's because that's what gets you through the regression.
Yeah.
You have to be consistent.
Yeah.
The routine has to be so consistent so you don't feel like, even if it was physical or mentally, so if you don't feel like you're gonna regress. Because that's a fear. Because here's the thing, we don't know. Nobody knows.
There's such a thing as being too consistent, though, because when I was sent to my physical therapist, I would do the same thing 6 times in a row. 6 times I'd go there and do a lot of exercises I can do at home. And then at the 7th time, my insurance ran out, and they're still doing the same old exercises, and they're charging me $75 an hour or per half hour for doing it. And and I'm looking at my therapist, and he's chatting to the newest, cutest one that ever was there, chatting her up, and I'm here.
Yeah.
Why? So.
Yeah, this is Jerry. You just were talking about that, and Doug just said that.
Yeah.
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 But I do agree with the therapy, the same exact things. When I go, I like when they just switch it up, so it works all my different parts of my body. Just because it's, if you stick to, I know what you're saying, Jerry, the same routine, I could do it at home.
At least that's what they did to me. I didn't hardly do anything different for the almost 2 months I was there. And
And you're paying that kind of money,
yeah,
out of your pocket.
this is Canadian too, so it's more expensive for. So
Wow. Yeah, that's tough.
That's where I always advocate with the therapist to, if they give me a bunch of homework to do at home, and it's the same thing we're doing in they cover what you need to do while you're there with your session. And they say, practice this at home. Well, then I would take my visits and space them out. Instead of going like twice a week, go once a week, or if you're in a certain part of your journey, you can space out every 2 weeks. That way they can see what you're doing when you get back, and they can switch it up and give you new things to do for the next 2 weeks. And you do them at your home, and you're not paying for them.
Right.
well, you don't know that for sure though, right? Maybe your therapist, it was good, but I was doing good, like what they told me. And sure enough, the next day I would do it, and I'd have to do the same darn thing. And they'd say, "Oh, it's a half an hour interview session. See you next time." Just some people just do it. I hate saying this line, but they do it just for the money, right? So.
Yeah.
That's true. That's right. There are levels of therapists. That's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I found out that what I really like is the neurotherapists, the ones, my physical therapists, but they were neural. They got their, I don't think they doctor in therapy, and some of them were neurotherapists, and those I like, because they really push it. And maybe that's the reason I go, is because they push you harder than I would push myself.
Did you find, like, I know you did some ones where you're on the monitor doing the therapy? You're doing it online?
Oh, me?
Yes.
No, I'm going there.
No, but before.
Yeah, I've done it during COVID. I did it.
Yeah, did you find that doing it online, that it was any different, or did they push you, or what?
No, in person they pushed me, because I've done the online, but the only thing I did online that kind of helped was the speech therapy there but not online, not like Zoom call. And for me, I didn't get anything out of it. So just, yeah.
I knew you did that. You're saying that in person they push you, but you didn't feel pushed or anything.
No, I did do OT therapy online, and that kind of helped, because they recorded it too, and then we go back and look at it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they always ask me first if they can record it. And, if anything can help, that would I like, but no, I'm going into therapy just for physical therapy. I know being weak, I should do the occupational therapy for my upper extremity, but I'm not.
That's good. What if you find that it works for you? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't think what it was doing is making me broke before. It wasn't really doing anything for me otherwise. So
yeah, because I walk a lot now, but not. I mean, I should do it more. I mean, I always should be doing more of everything,
Yeah.
especially I've been out, 14, 15 years post stroke. I should know exactly what I'd be doing, and, but going to the therapy, I like to see if there's new stuff that they can do. But it's always, what do you want to get out of therapy? Well, I mean, how do you answer that? Well, I want to get stronger. I want to be able to,
It's like when you first got your stroke and you'd go into therapy. When I was in the hospital, they took me to therapy and they'd ask me, what goals I wanted.
that's what it is.
I'm going, well, I'd like it so I'm not in this freaking wheelchair, right? This is certain goals, what do you think?
Yeah,
Oh,
sometimes you wish they had a little bit more initiative about, okay, this is what we're gonna do today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But why would they ask you? I hate when they ask me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I want to walk better. You know that. I mean, come on.
Could we
Whatever
go play
takes
the
to get
lottery so I could win? There's a goal for me too, right? So
Right.
Yeah. But that's so, physically good.
Can see if you're doing them correctly. Yeah, that's true, Serena. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. But I think I appreciate everybody being here and doing this.
thanks, Jerry, for having me.
Yeah.
Good to see you, John and
Jerry.
Mr. Chapman.
Yeah, Musong, Jerry.
Good to see you guys again. Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Any last words? Anybody want to say anything?
This was a good roundtable.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, totally. I think it's
I didn't pick on the hips
kind of
the
get
whole time.
everyone's perspective. It's this roundtable concept is really great because everyone has their little different perspective about the discussion or topics. As it evolves in the discussion, you don't know what's going to come out.
Right.
It's just nice. Yeah, really nice.
Getting to know what works for some people and not for others.
Right.
It's very informative, and once you get thinking about it when you're not here, and we get together again.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Definitely.
But I look forward to hearing, Jerry, your outcome of like what the pain is.
Well, I just I'll be seeing my doctor in a couple of weeks, and she'll be probably sending me. I want to go see a neurologist. Is it?
Yes.
A neurologist, and all my pain and my affective side. It was explained to me where it's just nerve pain, but what do you do with that? Just you live with it, obviously, and have chats like this, and you understand. You don't like it.
Yeah.
But you understand, and you learn to tough it up a bit. So
Right.
that's
Well,
the way.
Serena, the last thing I think from your comment, perfect. I can't even think about perfection. Just more about just doing it. Perfection will come. I don't know. That's just, it evolves. I don't even know.
Yeah. Well,
I'm beyond that perfection, without a question.
Well, isn't that like? Is there such a thing as the the ultimate? We talked about it before. Where the ultimate recovery. Is there such a thing as a perfect recovery? I don't think there is. I thought John was coming close, but he says he has problems. So I don't know if there's such a thing as a perfect recovery.
I really don't think so, and I can't believe that, knowing what we all been through,
right.
Especially you're veterans. You guys are the veterans. I mean, you would have never thought of hey, this is gonna be a perfect recovery. No way in hell. It's more about just getting through the process. Probably, it's probably that could be a somewhat of a perfection in a sense of what, I've got through 15 years. I got through 12 years. I don't know if that's you hear what I'm saying. It's just, it's a mental journey of like, okay, I did this long. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
I'm still here and I'm still doing it, trying to recover. So,
Yeah. But you're working on it.
yeah.
Well, and
I'm,
you guys, I have issues, but I work on getting through and just making the slight changes to make my walking that much better. So I have to fine tune things the same way you do if you were doing OT with your arm or hand. You get your elbow back and your shoulder back, but then you have to work on those fine motor skills to get your fingers back. So
Yeah,
the same with the
absolutely.
leg. It's a bit. I still have issues, and I don't go the roller coaster ride. I see more highs than I do lows. Lows don't go as deep as they used to. It's more of an even
Right.
playing field, and the highs are there. So the level I've taken myself to, it's just even pretty much most of the time. Then there's a lot of highs when I can complete things, and when I do the exercise, and the pain is gone out of my leg, and I can get to it. But then also trying not to push the button too far to create more pain again.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
All right.
Still
Well,
figuring stuff out. I mean,
that's it.
Nonstop. It's
We'll
nonstop.
absolutely. We'll do this again.
perfect.
All right, guys. Well,
Good
I
to
hope
see you guys again.
Yeah, have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate it. Love you all.